I worked on my birthday, and my dad texted, "We sold your car. Family comes first. Be grateful we let you live here." Then he added, "Oh, and your brother's starting college. You'll cover his first semester, $5,200 due this week." I said, "Not happening." He replied, "Then pack you're dead to me." So, I did. That same night, I left something behind. This morning, they found it. Now my aunt's crying, my uncle's screaming, and my dad's on the porch begging the neighbors for help. Not even sure how to start this because it still feels fake, tbh. It was my birthday yesterday, literally, and I was at work all day, which is normal around here. My family is big on earning your keep, and my dad's always said, if you want something, you work for it. So, I was already kind of annoyed I couldn't even take a day off for myself, but whatever. I figured I'd come home and maybe get some takeout or just chill. So, I get off around 7 and I'm walking out, checking my phone, and I see a bunch of messages from my dad. Not super weird. He's always texting about dumb stuff, like if I forgot to set the trash out or if the Wi-Fi is acting up, but these were long. And the first one just says something like, "We sold your car. Family comes first. Be grateful we let you live here." I actually stopped walking and just stood there in the parking lot, like, what? I thought maybe he was joking because that's his humor. But then there's a bunch more, all weirdly formal. The next one, "Oh, and your brother's starting college. You'll cover his first semester, $5,200 due this week." My car was nothing fancy, just something I bought used after saving for literal years. I was the one who handled registration and insurance and all that, but the title was in my dad's name because the insurance was cheaper that way, and he insisted. I should have known that was going to bite me in the ass, but at the time, I just wanted to get to work and stop bumming rides. Anyway, I texted back, saying, "Not happening." And then he hits me with, "Then pack you're dead to me." I walked home, not like I had a car anymore. Took me almost an hour, and it was getting dark, and the whole time I'm thinking, is this for real? I go through the front door, and I see my mom in the kitchen, not making eye contact, doing dishes like she's in a trance. My dad's in the living room with the TV on really loud, but he's not watching. My brother Sterling is nowhere. I'm just standing there and I say, "So, you actually sold my car?" My dad doesn't even look at me, just says, "Family comes first. You're old enough to pitch in, so you will." It's always like this with him. He does this thing where, if I push back, he gets the whole family to close ranks like it's us versus me. My brother's the golden child. Always has been. And my aunt and uncle live a few streets away and are basically his backup squad when he wants extra muscle. Mom finally says, "You know your brother needs this. He's got a real future. Don't be selfish." Like I never did anything for the family. I'm the one who's always fixing stuff, setting up their phones, dealing with bills when my dad forgets, running errands for everyone. But he never sees it. Just thinks I'm lazy if I'm not doing exactly what he wants. I go to my room and start packing because I know how this goes. Last time I fought him over something, it was over lending Sterling my laptop for a semester, and he broke it. It was weeks of silent treatment and little digs. Never directly, always through someone else. I don't have a ton of stuff, just clothes, some tech, random crap I've kept since high school. I can hear my dad on the phone, probably with my uncle, saying, I'm being dramatic and he's not backing down. I call a friend, Ronan, ask if I can crash for a bit. He's confused, but says, sure. So, I shove everything into 2 duffels and a backpack. I'm not even thinking about what I'm leaving behind because I'm running on pure anger at this point. I can hear my mom crying, not saying anything to me, just standing in the hall while I grab my stuff. When I go to leave, my dad finally gets up and blocks the door. He says if I walk out, I don't come back and I should be grateful he let me stay as long as he did. I'm not even really listening at this point, just trying to get past him. He shoves me, not super hard, but enough to piss me off. I shove him back, and he looks at me like I'm a stray dog or something. So, I just walk around him and leave. The whole way to Ronan's, I'm thinking, I can't just let this go. I know how much my dad needs me for all the little things. He talks big, but he can't even pay an electric bill online without me reminding him. I set up all their stuff, did their banking, even handled the side gig he does, selling old furniture and electronics, because he can't figure out how to use half the apps. He acts like I'm a freeloader, but I'm the one holding all the pieces together behind the scenes. I realized if I'm dead to him, I can take the stuff I set up with me. Not talking about anything criminal, just removing myself from all the things I managed. I changed all my passwords, took my info off the bills I set up, shut down my side of the marketplace accounts. I left one thing behind, though, just to see if he'd even notice. Something small, but it's got all the receipts, literally and otherwise. Texted my aunt to let her know I was gone. Didn't give her details, just said, ask your brother. She immediately called my dad, and I heard him yelling through the wall. I just lay there on Ronan's couch, scrolling through my phone, trying to decide if I should tell people what really happened or just let the drama explode on its own. I guess I always knew my dad hated that I wouldn't just be like him, just do what I'm told and keep my head down. He only cares about looking good to the rest of the family, not actually helping anyone. He treats me like a backup plan, someone to fix his messes, but never as a person. Sterling's the favorite because he's obedient, and I'm the problem because I ask questions. I haven't slept yet. I keep checking my phone, waiting for the next round of texts, but so far, nothing. I know tomorrow's going to be a mess. I left that thing in the house where I know they'll find it. It's not much, but it'll start something. And when it does, I'm not going to be around to clean it up. I'll update if this blows up. If not, whatever. At least I'm out. Update 1. So, I'm back. And wow, if I thought things were messy before, I had no clue. I didn't sleep much at Ronan's. His couch is basically 2 inches of foam over springs, and his cat keeps stepping on my head at 3 a.m. But honestly, I was too amped up to care. I kept hearing my phone buzz, group chats lighting up, Aunt Mary's name popping up over and over, but I ignored it. I was waiting to see when they'd really notice what I'd done. The first weird thing was seeing my cousin post in our family Facebook group asking if anyone could help her mom get logged into their Wi-Fi. Like, not a huge deal, but normally I just go over and fix it. It's always been me. I set up all their stuff, not just at our house, but at Aunt Mary and Uncle Kyle's, too. I'd go over, reset routers, fix printers, set up streaming for the little cousins. Now I'm getting tagged in posts like, "Can Kieran come by?" And it's kind of funny. I don't answer, but then it gets real. Around noon, I get a call from my mom. I silenced it. And then a text from my brother, Sterling. He's saying, Dad is flipping out because the money isn't where it's supposed to be. He doesn't explain. I know what he means, though. See, my dad can barely work a phone and refuses to figure out online banking, so he'd get me to do all the bill pay and transfers, mostly because he didn't want to deal with the hassle. I took my name off every shared account last night. I transferred out what was mine, deleted my bank app from his phone, canceled all the autopays that were under my info, water bill, electric, even the Netflix account, which I paid for and which my brother gave the password to half the family. I didn't touch any actual money that wasn't mine, no matter what he says. But now nothing works, and bills are due, and my dad's got zero clue what to do. I guess this is where I admit I was basically their unpaid tech/bill/errand guy, and my dad didn't just expect it, he acted like it was my job. He'd say it's because he's old school, but it's just laziness, FR. He always wanted to be the guy in control, but only if someone else did the actual work. Why does he treat me like this? Honestly, I think he's always been annoyed I don't just obey. Sterling's more his type, quiet, just goes along with stuff. I ask questions, I push back, so he calls it attitude. He never hits me, but he'll shove. He'll slam doors. He'll yell so loud the neighbors hear. He doesn't care if it embarrasses Mom or Sterling. It's about being right. Ronan thought I was exaggerating until I started showing him the texts. Stuff like, "You're a leech. You owe us. You wouldn't survive a week on your own." I got another one while we were eating leftover pizza for breakfast, just pure all caps. Then around 2, I get a weird notification, Facebook Marketplace. Dad's listing is up, but it has the wrong number. He'd been using mine for years because he hates talking to strangers. Now he's got buyers texting me about old speakers, and I just tell them to try his number. I know he'll hate that, but it's his mess now. I also had access to the spreadsheet he uses for his side business selling stuff, all the contacts, pickup times, inventory, whatever. I took my login off and left it blank, not deleting anything, just no longer connected. I know he'll freak when he realizes he doesn't know who's coming to the house, what's been paid for, what's not. That's on him, too. By the afternoon, Sterling's texting me non-stop, first mad, then begging. He says, Dad's blaming him because I left and now the college payment is due. But the account is locked. It isn't. It's just not mine anymore. So, Dad actually has to do it. Sterling tries to make it my fault, but then admits he didn't even want to go to college this year. Dad just decided it was the right thing and signed him up without asking. I tell him to deal with Dad. I'm not paying for his life. I get a call from Aunt Mary. I answer this one because I know she'll just show up if I don't. She's mad, like, furious. She says, Dad's saying I stole from the family, that I'm sabotaging everything, that I'm ungrateful. I tell her to ask him how many bills were in my name, how much time I put into keeping things running, how many nights I spent fixing their dumb internet at midnight when his friends came over to watch sports. She hangs up on me. That night, Ronan and I are out grabbing food and we drive past my house. It's on the way. I see my Uncle Kyle's truck in the driveway, which is never good. He's Dad's enforcer, always has been the one who comes over to back him up when there's a problem. They're both standing outside yelling at each other, and I see my mom on the porch with her arms crossed, just staring at her phone. She's not crying this time, probably out of tears. TBH, back at Ronan's, I start getting DMs from random cousins. They want to know what happened, why I left, why everyone's mad. I keep it vague, just say there was a fight. Dad sold my car, I left. Some of them believe me, some don't. My aunt posts in the family chat that Kieran has chosen to separate himself from our values, and I just mute the chat. Whatever. I know what's coming next. I get a text from Sterling. Guess who's locked out of his college account? Dad never wrote down the login info, and since I set it up for him, he needs me to reset it. I don't. I send him the customer service number and say good luck. He calls me a jerk, but I know he's just mad at Dad, not really at me. This morning, I wake up to a wall of texts. Dad's trying to guilt me, saying the electric bill is overdue, the water's getting shut off, Sterling can't register for classes, and Aunt Mary's threatening to call Grandma to intervene. Like that's ever helped. He says, I need to come home and fix everything or else. I don't answer. Ronan's mom comes home and sees my bags in the corner. She asks, what's up? I tell her the short version, and she just shakes her head and says, family's weird sometimes. She gives me a plate of food and tells me I can stay as long as I need. I'm not feeling guilty. Not even a little. I kept my stuff legal. I didn't touch any money that wasn't mine. I just took back what was actually mine and left them with the stuff they didn't appreciate. You want to treat me like a servant? You can live without the service. The last thing, I get a message from a neighbor I barely know. Old dude always walks his dog past our house. He says, saw your dad out front. Looked rough. Heard some yelling. Hope you're okay, kid. If you need anything, let me know. I don't answer, but I keep the message. I'm waiting for them to find what I left behind in my room. It's not illegal. It's not even that dramatic. But they're going to hate it. And when they do, I want them to know exactly who made this mess. If you're still reading, yeah, revenge isn't just walking away. It's making people realize what they lost when they treated you like nothing. Next update soon, if they don't burn the house down first. Update 2. Alright, so I didn't even expect to post again this soon, but things have gone way further than I thought they would. Like, I knew my dad was stubborn, but I didn't think he'd go full meltdown mode in front of half the neighborhood. It's been a couple days since I left, and honestly, I thought I'd just get a few angry texts and then radio silence. Nope. It's been group chats, emergency calls, and more guilt trips than I thought possible. So, here's how it's playing out. First, Ronan comes in with my phone. I left it charging in the kitchen, and he's like, dude, answer your family. They're blowing me up on Messenger now. So, I check and I've got a string of missed calls from my dad, 2 from my Aunt Mary, and 1 from Uncle Kyle. Not even going to lie, I almost didn't answer. I finally pick up one from my mom, thinking maybe she'd be normal for once, but nah. She just starts in with, why are you doing this to us? Your brother's future is at stake. You're tearing the family apart, etc. I tell her, Dad sold my car. Said I was dead to him, so I left. She hangs up on me. I hear her slam the door in the background. Then I get a text from Sterling, which is weird because he rarely messages me directly. He says, Dad's lost it. He's blaming me for everything. Says I need to fix the college account or he's pulling me out. I ask, did you even want to go? And he waits a minute, then says, not really, but Dad says it's an investment. I say, you're not an investment. You're a person. He leaves me on read. So now I'm sitting at Ronan's, eating stale chips, just waiting for the next bomb to drop. Around noon, I get a DM from a family friend, someone I only really know from backyard cookouts. She says, your dad's calling everyone trying to get help with the water bill and can't get into his account. She says, is everything okay at home? I just say, yeah, I moved out. Dad's handling it. She writes back a thumbs up. Later in the day, I see my dad post a long rant on his timeline, public, typical, about kids these days and respect and how people don't know how to sacrifice for family anymore. It tags Aunt Mary and Uncle Kyle, who both comment LT. Kyle says, is Kieran here? We need to talk. I go out, and he doesn't even say hi, just starts in with, you need to fix this. Your dad can't pay the bills. Your brother's in trouble. We're all trying to help, and you're being selfish. I tell him I'm not responsible for Dad's mess. I was never treated like family unless it was about work or money. I'm not doing this anymore. He gets mad, steps forward, and shoves me. Ronan's like, back off, man. Kyle says, you're just like your dad. Always causing trouble. I say, maybe take a look at how you all treat people who don't do what you want. Kyle turns red, mutters something about ungrateful kids, then storms off, slamming the gate behind him. So now everyone in the family is blowing up my phone, but I'm not caving. I start getting texts from random numbers. I guess my dad's giving out my number now. One is from my Aunt Barbara, who I barely talk to, saying, is it true you stole from your dad? I just sent her a screenshot of the car title with his name and the payment receipts for the bills I paid all year. She doesn't answer. Then, out of nowhere, Sterling shows up at Ronan's. He's on his bike, looks tired as hell, says he can't handle it at home. He comes in, grabs a glass of water, and just sits there not talking for like 10 minutes. Finally, he says, Dad's telling everyone you're a thief, that you ruined our lives, and Grandma's threatening to cut off his loan. I ask, are you okay? He shakes his head and says, I'm tired of being the favorite if it means I get blamed for everything. He says he wishes he could just get out. I say, you can, but you got to want it. He says he doesn't know. We talk for a while, just regular stuff. He asks what I'm planning next. I say, I'm not letting Dad walk all over me anymore. If they want me gone, I'm gone. But I'm not leaving quietly. Later, I get a message from my mom. Just her, no group chat. She says, your dad's losing it. Yelling at everyone, slapping the table, making threats. She says, I wish you'd just talk to him, but I get it. I don't reply. That night, I check the family group chat again. Now there's fighting in there. Uncle Kyle and Aunt Mary are blaming each other. Monica's saying it's not fair. Grandma's saying she's ashamed of all of us. Someone posts a screenshot of my dad's rant about family leeches, and then half the cousins leave the chat. And Shell, I almost laugh. The weirdest part, Sterling's actually talking to me now, like he actually wants to know how I'm doing. He says he told Dad he won't do college if it means tearing the family apart. And Dad lost it, pushed him against the wall, then went outside and started yelling at the neighbors about ungrateful kids. Sterling says Mom tried to step in and Dad shoved her too. That's when Aunt Mary started crying and Uncle Kyle started yelling at Dad, telling him he's lost it. So now the family's split. Nobody's talking to anyone. Dad's making a fool of himself in the neighborhood, and Sterling says he's thinking about moving in with a friend if things don't chill out. I tell him he can crash at Ronan's if he needs to. Ronan shrugs and says, sure. For the first time, I feel like I actually did something right, not just for me, but for Sterling, too. I'm not fixing their mess, but I'm not letting them lie about me either. I know there's still stuff going down at the house. I left that packet in my old desk, and I know they haven't found it yet. When they do, it's going to be a whole new level of chaos. I'll update if anything else explodes. I have a feeling it's about to. Final update. So, it happened. Not gonna lie. Kind of surreal writing this because I always thought revenge stories were mostly fake or just drama for the internet. But this is real. It's ugly, and it's kind of exactly what I wanted, to be honest. It started super normal. I woke up at Ronan's again. His cat tried to eat my charger cable, whatever. I checked my phone. Nothing big at first, just some random text from my cousin Monica asking if I was coming to the next family thing. Nope. And Dad's usual guilt trip crap, mostly ignored. But then I get this absolutely unhinged string of texts from Aunt Mary, like all caps, saying, how could you do this? You've ruined everything, etc. I thought maybe they finally found the packet I left to back up for the people who missed it. Before I left, I put together a folder, all the receipts, screenshots of every bill I paid, every transfer I made for my dad, even the messages where he told me to put stuff in my name or use my account so he could get the bonus or, it's just easier. I put a letter in there spelling out exactly what I handled, what I paid for, and what was actually left on him. I even included a little summary of his side hustle money, how much came in, how much went straight to his collectibles, not, you know, the family fund. I left it in the bottom drawer of my old desk, right under all the random cables and junk. I knew someone would find it eventually because my mom's always cleaning when she's mad. So, yeah, I guess they found it. Ronan's kitchen window faces the street, so when Uncle Kyle's truck pulled up to my house, I could see everything. He goes in like normal, but then about 5 minutes later, I hear yelling from 3 houses down. It's not just regular yelling, either. It's that kind of screaming where you can tell nobody's holding back for the neighbors. Aunt Mary's voice is in there too, and she's crying. I see her slam the screen door and sit on the porch, head in hands, just sobbing. Kyle comes out red-faced, slams his hand on his truck, then goes back in and starts yelling again. My dad comes out after a while, phone in hand, pacing on the porch. He calls someone. I can hear his voice, even from Ronan's place, talking about how everyone's turning on him, that it's all lies, I'm making him look bad, etc. At one point, he's calling out to the neighbor across the street, asking if she's seen me, like I'm hiding behind a bush or something. She just shrugs and walks her dog in the other direction. Then I get a text from my mom, which is super rare because she usually just likes to stay out of the drama. She says, I read your letter. I wish you'd told me sooner. Dad is furious, and Uncle Kyle is threatening to cut him off if he doesn't sort himself out. She says Aunt Mary is crying. Uncle Kyle is yelling at Dad, and now Dad's outside begging the neighbors for help because the electric is off and the water bill hasn't been paid. Sterling calls me, which is wild because he usually only texts. He says, it's chaos here. Dad's blaming everyone. Uncle Kyle's threatening to leave. Aunt Mary's crying in the kitchen, and some neighbor came over to see what the noise was about. Sterling says, "Your packet blew everything up." He actually sounds kind of relieved. Then I get another text, this time from Grandma. She says she got sent copies of my receipts and wants to have a talk with my father. I almost laugh. I don't answer. The best part? Dad tries to get into the family group chat to defend himself, but Monica and a couple cousins are asking for proof. Like, show us the bills. Show us where the money went. Dad just keeps saying family comes first, but now nobody's letting him get away with it. It's all out there. I even see a screenshot of the car sale doc, the one with his signature, not mine, floating in the chat. People are putting two and two together. Ronan's mom comes in and asks if I want anything from the store. I tell her I'm good. Then she goes, "Your dad's making a scene out front. Do you want me to call someone?" I say, "Nah, he'll get tired eventually." She says, "He's out there asking the neighbors if anyone can help with the water bill." I just shake my head. In the middle of all this, Sterling messages me again. He says, "I think I'm done. I'm going to stay at a friend's for a while. Can you give me a ride?" I text back, "Sure," and tell him to meet me at the corner. Ronan tosses me his keys and says, "Bring back fries." That's basically the most support anyone's given me since this started. Right before I leave, I get one last call from Aunt Mary. She's not yelling this time, she's just tired. She says, "I wish things were different." I say, "Me too, but I'm not sorry." I drive by the house and see Dad still on the porch talking to the neighbor who always complained about our recycling bins. Now, he's the one asking for help. Uncle Kyle's truck is gone. Aunt Mary is still inside, but the kitchen light is off. I don't stop. So yeah, that's it. I left the packet. They found it. And now everyone knows. My dad always said family comes first, but what he meant was his comfort comes first. Everyone else just keeps things running underneath. Not anymore. I'm not going back. I don't care if the electric gets shut off or if he has to actually call the water company himself. I'm not being the backup plan. If there's a lesson here, it's this: don't let people use you just because it's easier for them. Sometimes you got to let everything break so people see the mess they made. Anyway, thanks for reading.